Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I already have 2 first-hour plays and 2 reviews about this game, so it's time to complete the circle and unbox a limited edition. Of course, I'm talking about Tokyo Xanadu, and this is the American limited edition of EX+, in other words, the game in its PS4 incarnation. The front cover is all about the main playable characters of the game. On the top, the title of the game on one side, the other side as well. On the bottom, absolutely nothing, and then we have the back with what's included in this edition, a brief description of the game, and the usual technical details. This shot should be enough to tell you what's inside this limited edition, but let's go over the contents anyway. A White Shroud figure, a Blade card game deck, an art book, soundtrack CD, and the collector box, which is most probably the box we are seeing right now. On the other side of the back of this box we see a small description of the game, along with the usual 3 screenshots and the extra contents available to this EX Plus version of the game. Then we have the one player, almost 6 gig install, well, of course DualShock compatible, and the usual legal details. Time to crack this box open. Quite the difficult box Axis went for. So, the art book, the game, the cards are here. This is the soundtrack CD. And last, the White Shroud figure that comes in its own box. Let's start off with the game that on the front cover once again shows off all the main playable characters with the addition of the White Shroud and a mysterious figure related to the story. Of course, we have the title of the game, ESRB rating, Falcom and Axis logos. On the back, exactly what we've seen on the collector's box, same technical details, of course. So, without further ado, and I can't commend Axis enough to include a manual. Of course, here we have the disc, no reverse cover that I can see. Manual it is. Let me zoom in a bit. And unfortunately you can't have everything. This manual is in black and white. So an aerial view of Totally Not Tokyo. Characters, primary and secondary as well. Controls, attributes, and legal information. Nice to have manuals. This is the soundtrack CD that on the front cover shows the title of the game. Most probably this has been used in the PlayStation Vita limited edition as well. So on the back we see that it only has 10 tracks inside. Let's see the disc. Nothing much to say about this. The card deck is rather small, smaller than I thought. Here's a piece of the soundtrack CD as a comparison. So on the front cover we see that, well, this is indication that this is the game deck. The logo of the game we've seen oh so many times now. Falcom and Axis logos. On the back, nothing much really. So starting off with the rule set, and the back of the card is incredibly pixelated. Most probably they've just taken the texture from the game and printed it. Now let's go through these illustrations and cards rather quickly. And I see that the cards too have been taken straight from the game. So these are all the weapons that the characters use throughout the game, and most probably this is a real-life version of one of the games that the characters can play in the arcade. And here are all the cards. The art book included here might not be as large as other art books I've shown you, but it's an art book nonetheless, so let's go through it. Starting off with the main character, some of his costumes and illustrations. Continuing to Totally Not Asuna. To be honest, the least interesting character in the whole game. Absolutely not my favorite character in the whole game. The idol, because every Japanese game must have a singing person somewhere. Secondary characters divided by their affiliation. And all the classmates. And of course the shopkeepers. Background art. And publicity illustrations. Small, but encompasses everything. And here's the White Shroud figure, of course still in its box. On what we can describe as the front cover, we see, of course, a key art of the character, its name, a catchphrase, and a small introduction of him. Sides. Well, still the title of the game on the top as well, and the bottom just copyrights. And on the back, an illustration. Okay, everything seems packed together as the usual Japanese PVC statues, so I'm gonna open this up in a moment and show you the figure. The figure is well sculpted, with no obvious flaws. There are some errors in the paint job though, especially along the black lines. My figure also has a small fingerprint on the small breast of the jacket. Still on the paint job, at times the white doesn't seem completely uniform, especially on the boots, which tends more toward a grey, almost yellowish hue. The base is very basic, just a piece of black plastic. There are only two supports to attach the figure to the base. The two supports are of different sizes, so you can't go wrong when attaching the figure to the base. PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4 got two different limited editions for Tokyo Xanadu from Axis, and I went for the PS4 version because I think that this is the best version of the game. As for the limited edition itself, I can't say it's bad, but I've been let down by a couple of things, starting with the cards, that have a very low resolution image on front and back sides. The White Shroud figure is decent, but the base is way too plain, although this is a common mistake of many Japanese PVC figures. The other letdown is the soundtrack, that is not really a soundtrack, just a selection of it. I absolutely commend Axis for a manual, although it's black and white. The artbook covers everything, with the exception of enemies, which is a definite plus. This is the North American edition, and it's available to a number of retailers that will be happy to ship it anywhere in the world. So if you have the chance, I'd say you can go for it. The game is an absolute blast, and the limited edition is the cherry on top. As said in the opening, I have a first hour play and a review covering the PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4 versions of this game, so you're welcome to check them out. I hope you have enjoyed this unboxing, and you'll stick around for more. Briareos Kerensky, over and out.